Welcome to this edition of Stock Market Pulse. My name is Eric, and today is October 30th, 2015. It's Friday. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos and strategies. Today, we're going to take a look at IWM. And first thing I want to look at is the time frame. I want you to notice I'm using a 4-hour chart. And this is kind of the time frame I've settled into the last few weeks. Obviously, for our subscribers, I usually look at daily charts and some intraday stuff. And I kind of, when things got pretty volatile during the recent sort of correction, I was looking at smaller time frames. But now that things have settled down a little bit, I'm going from like hourly charts more towards 4-hour charts with the idea of taking, short 3-4 bar trades. In that case, 3 or 4 bars would be just a couple days. So one thing I'll just point out here today, right now it's about 1:30 p.m. and we just started a new bar, and this is the 9:30 a.m. bar and the 13:30 bar. So basically with the 4-hour chart, you're getting 2 bars per day, and I'm not showing extended hours. I'm just worried about the main trading day here. So I'm looking at IWM, and you can see, basically the main thing I look at here is the DMI stochastic for entries. And then I use levels and some different things for exits, profits, and things like that. But mainly, I'm looking at the DMI stochastic on the 4-hour chart, and we're basically back to an oversold area. You can see here we had come back down and, put in kind of a bullish harami type candle here. And that's when the stochastic started to tick up. And then you had the positive reaction from the Fed a few days ago. And basically the Russell really outperformed that day. And then I got stopped out once we pulled back yesterday. And now I'm basically just looking to re-enter. I really don't think this is going to trigger today, although we do have about 3 hours left in the day, or 2.5 hours left in the day. But I think this could be something to watch for next week. And all I'm really looking to do is, right now, if the DMI stochastic is higher, meaning it starts to tick back up from an oversold area, that's when I would look to enter a trade, a long trade. And just kind of target levels, if I were to get filled, and we'll talk about the options on this in a minute, you could actually buy the ETF. But basically, I'm looking for a move back up to the 118 to 119 area. That's going to be previous resistance, previous support, take out a little bit of this high. So that's kind of my target on this. Or if we get to the upper band and we start to pull back a little bit, I'll just get stopped out and just kind of follow this oscillator or oscillating line here, basically. So that's my trade. What I'm looking at for these type of trades is I'm going out at least 30 days in expiration. So let's look at the option chain. In this case, we have 21 days left in November, 49 December. I'd be looking at the December options, and I want to go Delta 70, whatever the lowest Delta 70 is. So here I have Delta. In this case, it would be the 111 call. And right now that 111 call is trading for $6.30 or so, and which is, $630 per contract. And that's the trade that I would be looking, or that's the option I'd be looking to get into if this thing triggers. Now, obviously, if we sell off some more, this thing could flatline. It could be something like this, where you can see previously, this is a couple weeks ago, we got oversold, but it never, it took 3 or 4 more bars before you actually got some kind of trigger here. So that could very well happen next week. We could sell off next week. We could actually sell off into the close, and this thing could flatten out for a couple days or a couple bars. Remember, 2 bars per day. So I'm really just kind of waiting for that timing signal. And what I typically like to do is just put a stop below the previous bar, right? So in this case, if we were getting the signal today, my stop would be just below the previous 4-hour bar, which in this case would be the low is 115.36. So I'd kind of place it a little bit below there. You could do some math to figure out how much, what kind of stop loss that is for the option. I don't want to get too in detail with that, but that's sort of the general thing. And you can, like I said, you could just buy the stock here. If you're looking for, a move up, you get a 3-4% gain. You put your stop below this bar, you can just trade that for options. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it, but that's what I'm looking at for IWM for next week. Here's what I did today. I'm looking at TLT, and TLT, kind of a similar pattern, just kind of sideways choppy movement, 4 hour. We actually got the signal today on the morning bar. And so what I did was I picked up, let's see, what did I pick? I picked up the Delta 70, that now it's a Delta 74, the 119 call option. And I'm still relatively flat in it. It's not, but we are starting to move up a little bit. And with TLT, I have a stop below the morning bar, right? Right now it's a mental stop, but if we were to sell off, I would, and I want you to think about what happens when you sell off. If we were to sell off, this thing would tick back down and the trade would be over, right? But what I like to do is sort of trail my stop up. If we get to the mean here, which is, I'm using a 13 EMA, I would, take a couple contracts off and then see if we could get to the upper band up here, right? So again, it's a short trade. I'm not looking for break out the new highs or anything like that. It's just more of an ebb and flow trading, because I think that's what the market's in right now. It's just very, it's very choppy. The overall market's very overbought. We're probably going to chop around in here. Data, earnings, all this stuff's kind of happening, and we're really just kind of in this washing machine mode. But I'm digging the 4 hour chart at this point because it's pretty easy to follow. It's less stressful than a hourly 30-minute chart, that kind of thing. And you could really kind of take your time, sort of, in this market where it's just kind of, everything is just kind of everywhere. So hopefully that helps. That's all I got for this video. We'll see you at the next update.